All right, we're looking at live pictures now of the Artemis I moon rocket, which is now a go for launch at Florida's Kennedy Space Center, despite some delays earlier due to technical glitches. Now, the team had to address an Ethernet issue tied to a crucial radar system. They also had to fix another liquid hydrogen leak. This is the third attempt to launch this rocket, the most powerful one NASA has ever built. The first phase of the Artemis mission will be an unmanned test flight. The ultimate goal is to return astronauts to the moon and someday send humans to Mars. For more on this, I'm joined by CNN space and defense correspondent Kristen Fisher and retired astronaut Leroy Chow. Thanks so much for being here with us. So, Kristen, we can just see it over your shoulder there, lit up. We're waiting for the countdown here as it's going on here. So let me start with you, Kristen. It's been touch and go to get to this point right now.
Kim, this is it. These are the final few minutes of this countdown, most likely. 2 minutes and 41 seconds on the clock, and we are about to see something that's never been seen before. The most powerful rocket ever built is about to lift off from the Kennedy Space Center, bound for the moon. And Kim, you know, this comes after so much stress from NASA. This rocket had to be rolled back because of Hurricane Ian. Then it got hit by Hurricane Nicole, a Category 1 hurricane, while this rocket was at the pad just 5 days ago. And now here we are. It was a very clean countdown during the beginning of fueling, but then at the end we ran into two issues. Another hydrogen leak. They had to send out a team called the Red Crew, three people, to actually go up to the launch pad while the rocket was fully fueled. Basically a sitting bomb, and they had to tighten some bolts. They fixed it, got the hydrogen leak fixed, and then there was a problem with, believe it or not, an Ethernet connector with the U.S. Space Force, the range, the flight safety termination system, absolutely critical for this launch. They have fixed it just in time. And now, Kim, look at the clock, 1 minute and 30 seconds left. And what we are about to see, if all goes according to plan, and inside Mission Control, they have just given all systems go for launch. So unless something just absolutely crazy happens, this thing is about to light and lift off, and it is going to head for the moon. It is going to go on a 26-day mission. It's going to circle the moon and then land back, splash down sometime around mid-December in the Pacific Ocean. And if all goes well, that paves the way to return American astronauts to the moon for the first time since the Apollo program, and put the very first woman and the first person of color ever on the lunar surface. So there is so much at stake here tonight, Kim. You also have to think about the geopolitical implications. The U.S. and NASA now in a space race. According to the NASA administrator, who I just interviewed earlier tonight, he is confident that this team is ready to go. They have been preparing literally for more than a decade, since the retirement of the space shuttle program, for this moment. And so, Kim, I am just going to pipe down for a minute, because I think we should all just kind of take a deep breath and get goosebumps together as we watch the final 15 seconds of this countdown. Let's listen in.
And here we go.
10.
Hydrogen burn-off igniters initiated. 7, 6, 5. 4-stage engine start. 3, 2, 1. Boosters in ignition. And liftoff of Artemis I. We rise together back to the moon and beyond.
Engines on the core stage and 2 solid rocket boosters now propelling the vehicle at 128 miles per hour. Hearing good control on the roll from teams in Mission Control Houston. All good calls so far. Now 30 seconds into the flight of Artemis I. First milestone will be for the vehicle to pass through max Q at about 1 minute and 9 seconds into launch. This is the greatest period of atmospheric force on the rocket. SLS now traveling 607 miles per hour. You're looking at 8.8 million pounds of maximum thrust. Quiet here in the loops in Mission Control. The 4 core stage engines are throttling down ahead of passing through max Q. 1 minute, 21 seconds into the flight, traveling at 1,420 miles per hour. The 4 core stage engines are back at maximum thrust. The next major milestone will be for the solid rocket boosters to cut off and jettison at about 2 minutes and 11 seconds into the flight, so about 30 seconds from now. Again, quiet here in Mission Control Houston as teams continue monitoring the flight of Artemis I. We're now 16 miles downrange from the launch pad at Kennedy Space Center, traveling over 2,800 miles per hour. Standing by for solid rocket booster jettison and shortly thereafter. Confirmation that the solid rocket boosters have separated these 177-foot boosters.
And
Now
you
the
can
core
hear
stage
the
continues to
cheers
power
there
the flight
from
of Orion,
NASA
all 4
as we see Artemis I lifting off. Leroy, the words from NASA, "We rise together back to the moon and beyond." What are those words and the pictures that you're seeing now? What do they mean for you?
Hearing nominal calls here in Mission Control Houston.
Can you hear me, Leroy?
Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry. I didn't know that was for me. Yeah, this is obviously a very exciting moment. Launch of a new vehicle. This is the beginning of the, hopefully, the effort to return humans to the moon. And so an exciting evening for everyone.
Yeah, but we saw lots of problems, and so what we're seeing now, the Artemis I, it is autonomous. There's no one in there, but the next one, Artemis II, would be crewed with astronauts. So how worried should we be about all of these hydrogen leaks that we've been seeing?
Hydrogen leaks are something that have been going on since we've been using these kinds of cryogenic propellants. Of course, over the 30-year life of the space shuttle program, we had our share of hydrogen problems and liquid oxygen leaks, but we've been able to surmount that for the shuttle program. Part of what you're seeing now is a new vehicle that has many components that are either directly from or derived from the space shuttle program, but we've got also people that are dealing with this for the first time. And so there has been quite a gap between the end of the shuttle program and this launch tonight. But you can see that the teams are coming up to speed and they're able to now deal with the same problems that we had with the shuttle program. And so I'm confident that these folks will be able to continue to get it done.
Now, Kristen, the Space Launch System, it's never flown before. So talk to me about what they're testing on it and what they will be testing on the Orion spacecraft as well.
Sure. Well, Kim, this is, it's the first test flight of this rocket. And so there's a few things that they're looking at. One of them, does it actually work? So far, so good. All systems nominal as the rocket has now passed max Q. That's the moment when the rocket is under the most stress during launch. So far it has passed that test, but there are many more in store. One of the other big things that they're going to be looking at is the Orion capsule, which sits on top of this rocket. Is it safe to actually put people inside? And so one of the biggest things that they're looking for is on the way back to Earth, how is that heat shield? How does that heat shield perform as the capsule re-enters the Earth's atmosphere and hits those incredibly high temperatures? But Kim, can I just say, for all of you watching this, it is something else to see this thing and actually feel it lift off in person here. I mean, it was so loud. You felt the vibrations shake your chest. I mean, this is more powerful than the Saturn V rocket, which took all the Apollo astronauts to the moon, the most powerful rocket in operation right now. And just huge cheers from all the media. There's tons of astronauts gathered over here watching this thing go. Many of them know that they could be named to this Artemis II crew. And I spoke with NASA Administrator Bill Nelson earlier this morning, and he said that if Artemis I, if this mission is a success, then they are going to name the all-important crew of Artemis II likely in just a few months. So a lot of very excited astronauts here because, I mean, just think about this, Kim. They have not had a NASA-made rocket for them to fly on since the space shuttle, which retired way back in 2011. It's been more than a decade. And so up until now, they've been totally reliant upon, SpaceX rockets or a Russian Soyuz rocket to get them up into space. This is the first time that they are seeing a new rocket, one of their own rockets that they may get to fly in very soon. So really a special moment for them and also for the entire NASA team.